Matthew Fox. Great to see you.
How you doing, man? I'm good.
Welcome, Matthew Fox.
Matthew Fox. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Matthew Fox, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Matthew Fox.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Tommy Lee Jones seems like he doesn't like other people. Is that the case?
He comes across that way a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But I had an absolute blast working with him. I mean,
You
obviously.
seem like you might be his kind of guy. Like maybe there might be like just a tiny window of
there was a
people,
window of opportunity
and
there.
you're in it.
We're both into the same kind of things. I mean, he's
Like
he's
what?
Well, fly fishing, and
Oh,
he's
fly- well, there you go.
You know, he's
Uh-huh.
into ranching. He's got this ranch in Texas, and he's doing alfalfa hay, and we found common ground to talk about.
He grows alfalfa hay and then he sells it to other farmers?
Yeah, and he also has a lot of horses, so he
How
keeps
much can you talk about that, though? I mean, really.
A lot,
A lot?
actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
working with Tommy Lee Jones.
Was
that like?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
He's
Legend.
yeah, he's not nearly as grouchy as he comes across as being. He really is kind of a, I think, sort of big teddy bear, really underneath that hard facade.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit. He'd hate me for saying that.
So next time I see Tommy Lee, you think I should just go in for a hug and see what happens?
Oh, I'm sure you'd be successful with that.
Really? I don't know. He's pretty
I
tough.
don't know.
All right, I'll give it a go.
Guessing since you worked in this movie with Tommy Lee Jones, it could be a Tommy Lee Jones-based question. Mark, go ahead.
That's exactly what I want to ask you about, because I talked to recently Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Will Smith both said, no, he's actually a nice, funny guy. Can you give me one thing to tell me that Tommy Lee Jones is a nice and funny guy?
I'm gonna say the same thing. He's a very nice and very funny guy. I mean, I had a fantastic time working with Tommy, and I was just so blown away by how professional he was, the kind of focus that he brought to the role, and it was a real honor. I enjoyed it very much.
That's awesome. Did that answer your question,
right,
Mark? Does that help?
Does that work? Yes and no.
In the short time we've had to talk to you, you've smiled more than I've seen Tommy Lee Jones in 40 years.
Oh, he was a total joy to work with, by the way. I had a blast with him.
Yeah, well,
Yes. Yes.
One sentence, hopefully a beautiful love story told in the backdrop of the end of World War II, and a movie about reconciliation and huge decisions made in a very positive way. That was sort of one sentence. Sort of one sentence.
But we shot the film mostly in New Zealand.
Imperial Grounds is what, a coffee company? It's delicious. It's the best Japanese coffee.
No, that is the Imperial Grounds where the emperor. Part of my challenge in the movie was learning some Japanese, and I studied with this very sweet Japanese woman who taught me little phrases in the film so I could be convincing as someone who spoke. I don't remember any of it.
It's very interesting because Japanese, I think the male dialogue is very different than the female dialogue, right? Like women and men speak differently in their own language.
I think that's true, yes. There's a certain, yes, that's true.
So give us just a manly something.
Something. I'll try to, okay, arigato.
Oh, come on, we all know that from the song, Mr. Roboto.
That's how bad it really is.
I think
That's how bad it is.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa.
I know something. I knew something.
Last time you were here, I think you said your daughter, who's a teenager, had just started watching Lost.
Yeah.
And did she finish it?
No.
She did not. Is she in progress?
No, I think she's given up on it.
She
actually.
did? When did she give up?
I think I'm not sure about this, but I have a theory. I think it coincided with when Harry Styles and what was that? The girl that he was dating?
Why do I know?
Well, I know this stuff. Taylor Swift.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, she's got a big crush on Harry Styles from One Direction. My daughter does.
Okay.
And I think around the time that those two broke up, my daughter stopped watching Lost.
Why did that happen?
Because she's a 15-year-old girl, and
she
they
felt
get
she had to
distracted
focus
very,
on the breakup?
very easily. I think that was part of the Lost thing, was the morning that Harry Styles was going out with another girl.
I have to ask you, because I have a daughter who's 9, so that's still a ways off for me.
Yeah, you're still in the safe area there.
Yeah. I mean, what is it when your daughter's 16, what is it she wants to do that freaks you out, you know?
Well, she's a huge One Direction fan. She's got this major crush on Harry Styles. She's going to be very upset about the If They Melded thing that you did earlier on the show.
Or she'll be intrigued. She'll see him in a whole new light, yeah.
So
she likes One Direction. Have you gone with her to a One Direction concert?
No. No. And in fact...
Will you go with her to a One Direction concert?
No way. No way. You know, I'm a huge music fan, and we're having that classic father-child argument about music right now, and so I'm trying to encourage her to start to, you know, explore music that's outside of, like, sort of boy bands, and I upset her every time we talk about One Direction, so we've pretty much had to agree to not talk about One Direction at all.
Really? So that's just an off-limits area. You know, that's going to go south really quickly?
Yes. Every time she brought up One Direction, I felt it was my responsibility to bust their chops, and she would get very upset. So we agreed not to talk about One Direction anymore.
And yet, I'm making it the entire segment tonight.
I'm going to make sure she does not.
There he is.
Is she dating now, your daughter?
No.
Okay,
no.
good. That's good. You don't want that to ever happen.
No, I don't. I'm hoping it'll be like another, 4 or 5 years.
You allowed to date?
No. No. I hope she doesn't. We're hoping that that's 8 to 10 years down the road.
I started dating in my late 30s.
Yeah. That would be perfect. She's not driving yet, so she's...
Oh, she's not? Okay.
No.
Well, how old did you say she is? She's 16?
She's turning 16. She's taking her time.
Okay. Well,
yeah, she's just about to take her test for the learner's permit, so...
Are you a good teacher?
It's going to be really interesting.
Why? There's nothing worse than teaching your daughter how to drive.
Yeah, I'm both looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be just dreadful in a lot of ways, because I really see. I mean, she's Italian. Her mother's Italian. She's got the same sort of stubborn Italian spirit, and I don't have a a lot of patience. And I think it's going to.
Great. Sounds exactly like my situation.
I'm hoping that it's a way we can bond.
No,
but I
it
have
will
a
not
feeling
be. It will not be a bonding experience. Yeah. It will be a bad experience for both of you equally, because you're so nervous about teaching her to drive, and she doesn't want to learn anything from you anymore. At all.
No, she's totally already distancing herself.
And one thing is you have like a phantom brake that you will keep stepping on in your on the passenger side of the car, and your leg will hurt the next day from it.
I keep imagining this long shot of I'll teach her in a Ford Ranger. That's the vehicle that I'll drive in. And I have this long shot in my mind that's just silent from a long ways away, in this truck just stopping and starting, and like kind of distant screams happening inside.
Can I give you some advice? Have a driving instructor teach her instead.
No, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to do it.
It's one of those things, like most things, I think it's a great idea for the parents to learn together. This is the one that isn't.
Man, you may be right.
This is one of a few that aren't, actually. Yeah. But, well, that's it. That's a very interesting period to be in.
Yeah, it's getting more interesting every day.
You're a football player, Columbia.
I did. I played 4 years at Columbia, yeah. That was,
oh, my gosh, look at your football.
Look at that. Now, answer the question, because you wear a helmet all the time. Do you specifically pull that little piece of hair down like that to get that look? Because come on, you don't.
I mean, that is crazy.
Matthew, you don't pull your helmet off and your hair falls like that. I know too well.
I mean, Matthew, that looks like central casting for we need an actor to play a quarterback.
A little bit. No, that was a good time. I enjoyed it. I mean, that was during the period where Columbia was on a really long losing streak, and we actually, I think, set the NCAA record for the most losses in a row until thank you very much. And my senior year, we won 2 games, and it was quite a celebration. We beat Brown and Princeton.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that up.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, we're glad you went into acting, I guess. So, you could have really gotten hurt if you stuck with football.
And you worked your way through Columbia.
I did. I studied economics at Columbia. And
all right, we're dancing around it. Something happened that probably... Matthew, you tried a career in finance for, I think it lasted about 45 minutes.
Yeah, I did one interview, yes.
Prudential-based securities. What happened during that interview?
Well, it was a moment at the end of the interview. I had borrowed a suit and shoes from a friend of mine who was a little bit shorter than I.
So you look like not quite $1 million.
I wasn't really the picture of professionalism on that day. And at the end of the interview, I was standing around with 4 or 5 guys that were in their mid-20s and real type A personalities, and we were sort of wrapping up the meeting, and one of the guys turned to a friend in the circle and said, well, he's going to have to do something about those shoes. And I looked down, and I had my friend's, the friend's shoes on that were penny loafers, and all 5 or 6 of the other guys had exactly the same pair of Oxford business shoes on. And it was just a very big moment for me where I realized I probably wasn't going to fit in, and that I should maybe consider putting that on hold for a while.
And maybe buying your own pair of shoes.
or getting a pair of my own pair of Oxford business shoes, exactly.
How did you support yourself while you were in college? What did you wind up doing?
I did a lot of things in New York. I loaded flowers in the middle of the night in the flower district. That was one of my favorite things because it was sort of a cash deal, and you'd work, for 4 or 5 hours in the middle of the night and make a few bucks. That was one of the things. Well, my dad always had dynamite on the place, so we didn't actually...
Greatest dad ever. Whenever someone says my dad had dynamite, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you get to use the dynamite?
Well, we would help him with that kind of thing. I mean, dynamite was a necessity. We had a creek running through the place, and in the winter it would freeze up, and it was a real problem for the place. So we always had to blow that. And
that is the coolest thing I've ever heard of. When it was part of your childhood too.
Yeah.
We've got to go blow up that creek.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's fantastic.
Creek.
Creek.
Crick.
Don't make me get my dynamite.
I want to ask you about it, actually, because this is... tell us what's going on here, because this, as I understand, is a Spanish talk show.
Yes.
You were on it. Why
I've been on it a couple of times.
Oh, you were on it a couple of times.
Well, this is the talk show in Spain. I mean, if you're going to promote a movie in Spain...
Okay, and this is the show. In
Yes.
which... What are those?
I mean, look at me.
You look excited to be there. Are those ants?
Those are ants.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah. This was the first time that I was on it, and the whole thing was pretty shocking to me, I must say. I mean...
What the hell is this? They attack you with a dinosaur?
You know, the second time I did it, I had a lot of fun. The first time, it was just...
You look like you really enjoyed yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I just realized you have an amazing chin. Wow, your jawline is super square.
That is a compliment coming from another man. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Would you ever consider growing your hair long again?
I can't believe I was rocking that hair at that time.
We all are.
Sometimes you look back and you're just like, what were you thinking?
Give me a call. We'll talk about hay.
It sounds good. We'll have a long conversation about it.
Matthew Fox, everybody.